of all, Charlie, welcome to Loyalty Expert Talks. How are you doing? And how is England doing after the passing of the Queen?
Oh, hello. Nice to see you. I think I'm sitting here in glorious sunshine today, so I think we're doing all right. It's been a really difficult sort of fortnight across the country for everyone, but I think we're kind of powering through. Yesterday, I think was very, very special and very poignant for lots of us. So yes, thank you for asking. I think we're doing okay.
You bring a lot of experience to the table in loyalty and specifically in rewards. You are the MD and head of strategy at Mando-Connect, a leading rewards agency. But Stampix is still a startup, theoretically. And what startups love to do is give an elevator pitch. So I'm going to put you to the test and give you 45 seconds to introduce yourself.
Oh, that's awesome. I still feel like a startup. It's only 5 years ago that we started up Mando-Connect as part of Mando. So I still feel like a startup, even if we aren't. And our elevator pitch has stayed pretty much the same since day one, actually. I think we've got more case studies and experience behind it now than we had 5 years ago. But our elevator pitch is the same. It's very simple. We design brilliant loyalty promotions, partnerships, and reward solutions for our clients. And the thing that sets us apart is that we're really smart and we use cutting edge data and insight to get it right and drive real business results. It's probably slightly under 45 seconds, but yeah, that's us. And that's been the same since day one.
Great, congratulations on that. Charlie, we met at the latest International Loyalty Awards in London, which was a fabulous event. I remember cocktails nearby the River Thames, a big party, and a lot of awards, especially for Mando-Connect. So, for those who weren't there, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on those 4 awards you won.
Yeah, of course. And we were talking about it earlier. I think it's a really wonderful ceremony, and it's been a huge part of our journey at Mando-Connect. When we very first started in our very first year, we sat at the back of the room, and it was a big ambition to be up on the stage. And I think we've been really lucky enough to have some fantastic clients and some fantastic kind of case studies that we've worked with over the last 5 years. And we've been lucky enough to be up on that stage quite a few times. This year felt pretty spectacular, I think, because it was the first awards back in person. So as well as trying to remember how to walk in heels and wear a posh dress rather than the track pants combo that I'd had the year before, it was quite a moment for us, and we won some really impressive awards that I think we were pretty excited to win. So with Very Me Rewards from Vodafone, we won best long-term program, and we won best program in Western Europe. We actually nearly missed it. We were so busy celebrating best long-term program, it sort of took us by surprise, and we had to run back up on stage. And then with another one of our wonderful clients, Lidl Plus, who we work with in the UK, we won best coupon program and best program. So we were absolutely thrilled. And then we were also really lucky enough to be finalists with our clients, BMW Inside Edge and Shell Go Plus. So I'm really hoping that we win with them next year. More to kind of do, but there was a lot of celebrating that went on that night, and probably for a few days afterwards as well.
About the Very Me program, is there something special about it that you can share, or especially when we look at nurturing and fostering an emotional connection with customers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really great program, and I encourage everyone to check it out. Telco is a really interesting sector in the UK market because most of the big telco brands invest significantly in their loyalty programs. We have a very competitive telco market in the UK, and the loyalty programs are a big part of what differentiates the brand from each other. And Very Me is designed to connect people to what they love. And Vodafone invests a lot of time and energy to understand what it is that their customers really want and what it is that their members really value, and then tailor a rewards portfolio to match that. So we have a pretty unparalleled insight engine that draws lots and lots and lots of really rich data and insight from multiple sources to try and always get those rewards right for our customers. And I think that kind of laser focus on trying to understand and predict what members really want, and then, be really nimble and agile and respond to that, is probably what sets the program apart. We have a really cool kind of tool that we use behind the scenes where we're looking at everything from different reward mechanics to different reward categories to different reward emotions, and always trying to kind of be one step ahead and give people what they really want. So yeah, it's a really good program. This year as well was really exciting for us. It was one of the first times that we've been able to leverage a strong sponsorship within the program. So we were able to give Vodafone customers the chance to win tickets to Wimbledon, which was obviously, as a Brit, was quite a meaningful moment.
Yeah.
And also some really fantastic festivals this summer. So that was a really exciting time for the program. We're always hoping that no matter who you are, we've got something in the program that really does genuinely connect you to what you love.
So let's assume everybody is, or every brand rather, is starting a loyalty program. That would be great for the both of us. But how can we avoid brands copying each other's programs so they're all just very similar and it ends up being pretty boring for the consumer?
I think that's a really key point, actually. And differentiation often sits in that bucket of metrics we have for our programs, which is about the brand. Actually, what is this program doing for my brand? I had a really interesting talk by Tash Whitney, who heads up Tesco Clubcard, and she was talking about the importance of the loyalty program serving the brand. The loyalty program must always serve the brand, and I think that's something really important to deliver. So if your brand is differentiated, your program should be too. And I think personally, the most important thing to do is to uncover the insight that makes your program different. What are you trying to achieve? Tesco Clubcard is a brilliant program. When you look at what they've just done with Tesco Clubcard prices, the power to lower prices really contributes to their master brand positioning and is clearly differentiated from the other programs. So I think it's about find what's unique to you and then make sure that your loyalty program delivers that. Whatever you do, just don't go to some off-the-shelf program and white label it. And I think the worst thing that a program can do is to dress up market available offers and rewards as a loyalty program. We've seen a few programs like that open and close in the market quite quickly, because if I can get it on Groupon and clearly the brand is just RevGen from it, then actually it's not really a loyalty program. And I think that's a very clear, don't do that. Whatever you do, just don't do that.
Be genuine, be authentic, and be aligned with your core values. I think it's super important. And I tell the same story sometimes to customers. If they're just giving something that you can get on Groupon or on any discount site, it's really not driving loyalty. I sometimes have this anecdote with my wife. I told her, like, oh, did you know we can get 10% discount on the supermarket by switching provider to this energy supplier? And she's like, yeah, but I already have that same discount through another insurance company. And so then it really misses the point.
Yeah, I agree. And it doesn't make you feel good about the brand. I think consumers are very, very savvy. I think the days of 20 years ago where loyalty programs could offer, not particularly great value are gone. We've had some, big case studies that have been held up in the UK over the last decade. Nectar famously devaluing its points. That was really disastrous. My Waitrose, another big grocery program, has just changed its program and made some fairly fundamental shifts, and people were on them in seconds, in terms of actually their value, what happens, how they like to use their coupons. So yeah, consumers are way savvier than they probably should be.
Yes, and they have bigger audiences to reach in the platforms that are out there nowadays.
Yeah.
So talking about research at Mando-Connect, you're also contributing a lot to that with piece of what Brits want from loyalty programs, right? Can you share some of the key takeaways from that research?
Yeah, I think when we founded Connect, one of the things that was really important to us was data and insight. And I remember very clearly sitting down with lots of insight leads from WPP. We're privileged enough to be part of that group, and going, right, let's find out what's out there. What do we know about our market? And I was, in all honesty, absolutely horrified to learn that there wasn't a single piece of market-wide research looking at what the British people wanted from loyalty programs or what mattered to them. And we have a really great partnership with YouGov, who are a big research provider. in the UK, and we went to them and said, well, look, what can we do? What can we create? We've got this idea for this industry piece of research that we want to do. And they've been the best partner to us. So I author it, we commission it, we work with them on the data points. I think it's probably the most comprehensive set of data on loyalty and promotions of any provider in the UK. And it's been fantastic for us. So this is the third one that we've done. I actually have one of the rare printed copies. We're all about sustainability. So I think we only printed about 20 copies of it. The rest of it's digital. It's available from our website if anybody wants it. And what's great about the white paper is that's the national cut. But the rich data bank that we have with YouGov behind the scenes is probably where the real power of the paper lies. So, but I think what was most interesting to me this year was the new data points that we added in. So nobody's ever asked, how many loyalty programs are you a member of? So the number of times I've sat with clients and gone, oh, well, yeah, and they go, oh, they open up their wallet or they open up their phone and they go, oh, these ones are no one can anyway. So for the first time ever, we've quantified it. And the answer is 4.
Okay.
So the average Brit is 4 loyalty programs. And I think what that made us sit up and think about with each of our clients was, well, which 4? So pretty much you're going to be a member of Boots or Nectar or Tesco. There's a female bias to that data, so not in every kind of circumstance, but which programs are. And I think what we found is that we'd been looking with our clients at their natural competitive set in their sector. So to use telco as an example, we would look at O2 Priority, we'd look at 3+, we'd look at EE Up, we'd look at Voxy Drop, we'd look at Tesco Club Card with Tesco Mobile. But we suddenly had this moment, we were like, well, they're very unlikely, if they're only a member of 4 programs, to be a member of 4 telco programs. So who are they a member of, and where do we take our inspiration from? And what was wonderful about it is it opened up the world of loyalty to us. So we would now, for example, have a much broader competitive review when we're working with our clients. So we would look at, well, what programs are your members a member of? Which programs do they find the most appealing? And actually taking our inspiration from a much broader range of sectors. And I think that's really opened up some really exciting conversations for our clients and some new ideas and some new ways of thinking about loyalty. What can automotive learn from retail? What can telco learn from pharma? And all those kind of areas. So I think that was probably one of my favorite and most actionable insights from the paper. So as a loyalty program owner or somebody who's thinking about them, which are the 4? Like, it's kind of an interesting question. Obviously, we know the answer because we've got the data, but you can probably work it out, and you can probably talk to your members and find out who they're a member of and which programs they really admire. So that was probably the first bit. So I think people have traditionally thought of the loyalty program as a value driver, as a retention driver within their business. And we kind of asked Brits what really matters to them. And we found out that sustainability is really important. So 71% of Brits want programs to help them live more sustainably and help the environment. And I think that's a trend that we saw pre-pandemic, significantly accelerated by the kind of changes in lifestyle that we've seen. And for the first time, we've looked at actually, well, what can programs do to help improve their sustainability positioning? Because it's quite a difficult thing, I think, when you sit there as a loyalty program and what can I do? And the number one thing that came back was reward me for demonstrating sustainable behaviors, which is a really interesting thing as a program, because programs often reward for transaction. We've seen an increasing shift towards rewarding me for recognition or referral or engagement. But actually, it's like, what's coming next? And reward for sustainable behaviors is really interesting. And the gold standard case study that we talk about in the paper isn't one that we work on. I'd love to, but we don't. Costa Coffee Club. And what Costa very cleverly did in the relaunch, as well as ditching points and moving to a milestone model, was to say, well, look, if you bring your own cup, you only have to buy 4 coffees and we'll give you a free one. If you use our cups, which obviously cost us money and have an impact, then you have to buy 8. So it's twice as good if you demonstrate a sustainable behavior. And I think that's a really interesting shift for us. And actually, it's something that all programs should be looking at. What behaviors can I reward? It's becoming so important. Look at Patagonia news, kind of everywhere, all over the news. That is such a big movement and such an important thing of what really matters to people. I think programs everywhere need to sit and look at it.
Cool. Great. So we looked at it from your research and the consumer's perspective. Of course, for loyalty program owners, one of the key drivers to start a loyalty program is to collect data to understand their customers better. Can you give some examples of how this is done in the right way, to collect the data, to sort it, and then to generate insights to make the journey overall better and more customer centric?
It's a great question. And obviously, data was one of the founding tenets of Mando-Connect, and smart use of it is very important. I think we see a lot of loyalty program owners sort of swimming around in too much data that they don't know how to use, or worse, data that they don't trust. And I think that's a real challenge for the industry. I think, the arrival of GDPR meant that everybody kind of took data from middle of their agenda to probably the top of their agenda, and actually using it in appropriate ways. And that's a real focus for us, obviously. I think what's really interesting as a loyalty program owner isn't to ask the question, what data can I get? It's actually, what do I need to know about my audience in order to make my program more effective? And I think that's a very different starting point. And then if you answer that question, then actually I think you can get creative in how you get the data and insight. Data for data's sake is boring. So what I was saying, like the kind of the 4 programs insight, it could be a fact. Everybody's a member of 4 programs, but when you actually turn it into a question, well, how can I make my program better now that I know my members are a member of 4 programs, one of which is mine? What do I do differently, and where do I seek inspiration? I think that's where it becomes really interesting. So that's my kind of piece of advice. What do you need to know in order to make your program better? And then how do you go and get it? And we use a rich portfolio of collection and mechanics. So we work with YouGov on panel data. So that's freely and ethically kind of collected data and insight. And that's really useful to us. So we can look at program membership, their interests, hobbies, demographics, attitudes they agree with, obviously all in a research scenario. So that's a kind of one feed for us. We're also very active in the industry. So we're always out having conversations like this, talking to people, finding out kind of new insights, hence at the DMA conference this week, trying to get under the skin of their research and understanding what's going on, and then how that translates and impacts our clients. We have our own internal data. So we capture all our ProNet data, the performance data. So I can look at our aggregated data sets and figure out what type of reward works for what type of audience, what type of mechanic has the most engagement. And we've got some great analysts who create some really kind of smart models for us. So, what happens in a recession? How does behavior change? One of my favorite recent insights, we were looking at January as a key moment in the British calendar. And most brands obviously lead with a new year, new you, healthy kind of positioning. And obviously strategically that's appropriate, being in touch with the zeitgeist, that's appropriate. But actually the top types of rewards for January are the ones that are all about being cozy and warm on the sofa with some kind of like indulgent treat component to them, with a particular value. And we're like, actually that's interesting. So within the reward portfolios that we'll design, we'll make sure that we obviously have the brand aligned rewards, but then the ones that we know that the majority of some particular audiences really want. And it's that kind of actionable data that's really helpful.
Yeah, of course, because so often data confirms your gut feeling, and you tend to forget that on occasion it also contradicts your gut feeling, and you actually have an aha moment, and you switch your strategy based on the data. We've had the benefit of interviewing great experts like yourself, but who do you feel is missing on Loyalty Expert Talks?
Oh, I love your talks. I had a good look actually, and I was talking to him last week actually. I would strongly recommend Mike Capizzi, who's the dean, I think, of the Loyalty Academy, and knows everyone in loyalty and teaches the CLMP course. Actually, they're over doing one in Ireland this week. So this week would not be a good one to call him. But next week I would, and I'll happily do an introduction. Mike is a fountain of knowledge on loyalty, and probably one of the most connected and influential thought leaders that I've been lucky enough to work with over the years. So yeah, I reckon Mike would be great. He also does a great interview.
Great, cool. I'll reach out to Mike. Thanks so much, Charlie.
You're very welcome.